All right. Hey, everyone. This is Scott with what is now known as Sun Guardians. And I got a few of the guys here. We got our usual suspects joining us so far. We got Jared, Craig, and Matt all here, the homies. We're going to just talk about,
That's
we're going to keep this a light conversation. What's that?
I said that's homos.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, exactly. We're just going to keep this a light conversation and kind of just talk about some ideas and flow for 2018. Talk about the idea of rebranding and creating a new identity that might be a little more conducive for some whatever new camp goals we can hopefully collectively decide on. These guys are and even though Jared and Craig, you joined us this last year, you guys were incredibly helpful in managing camp this year. And Matt's been a rock. We're gonna get Matt's crotch there. And then of course we're missing Sam right now because he's off on another adventure. We're missing Imola and Jose and some other people who might join us along the way. So who knows? Okay, so I guess the main topic for discussion at least at this point is to talk about rebranding. I thought about like Monkey or Monkey Bar might be fun to do. I've got a lot of ideas already, generating behind that. We're not completely departing. I mean, we are kind of the idea does take us away from the Hindu temple thing, which I think is kind of what we need to do because it never really took flight. And I can't even. I mean, to be honest with you, some people ask me, well, how did you get to this point? And I'm like, I don't really remember. I think the camp idea was actually inspired by some music and just some general ideology that I've adopted in my life. But as we evolve, so do I. And since I've got some great people with me, and I'm a little envious of how some camps have really been able to create, a really strong unity with each other. I want to see more of that within our group. And I mean, honestly, putting it right on the table, that means me being able to let go of a lot of stuff. And that means me, listening more to other people and being more open to everyone's ideas. And that's really what I want to put on the table at this point too. Anyone? It's a discussion. You're all on mute.
Well, did you want to talk about some of your ideas for rebranding? What the options are? Because I know we had some discussion about that on Facebook.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the only idea that's been put out so far that I'm aware of is the one that I did, the Monkey Bar, or that's also kind of inspired from another piece of music from the Gorillaz, the Land of Monkey. And last year's My Little Adventure, really put me in a headspace for like Hanuman and stuff like that. And then there's the art car that I've started working on as far as concept is concerned at this point, but it can also be molded to whatever direction we go. Then there's also considering the theme for 2018 is iRobot. How much do we let that play into the discussion too? Thoughts?
I mean, I would say I guess one, we're obviously thinking about rebranding beyond just this year, right?
Yeah.
Even she's fine. She just like climbed my leg.
Dogs climbing into laps.
Yeah, I just want to make sure that like whatever the sort of like general theme is, isn't so specific that it becomes challenging for future sort of themes to adapt, and which
And
I don't.
and I think
that.
that's kind of what Sun Guardians did at some point. It just suddenly became a thing that, you know, it's this little beast in a corner that, you know, struggled with his identity and,
Yeah.
you know, tried to create something and just couldn't go any further.
Yeah, I think I like the idea of the monkey bar. I think it's really cool. I think it's more conducive to like creating a fun space instead of this serious. I think for Radical Ritual, it was awesome to have this Hindu temple, right? Like, and it was great. It attracted a lot of people, whatever. But I think we have the ability to reach more people with a broader, you know, event space, monkey bar, lala.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Matt, anything?
I mean, I'm not like the creative one of this group by any measure, but I would say, I mean, my opinion is the monkey bar sounds like a good idea if we're gonna do like stick to the idea of doing tea and have the monkey bar. I think that would work well. You know, I think the only question in my mind is like, are we still gonna do yoga, meditation? Are we gonna have space for that if we're just like if we only have a tea bar? Yeah, I guess I'm fine either way. I'm just curious what you're thinking.
Well, honestly, the hold on. I think that I did do a survey as far as what people thought for what, you know, if we do, should we continue yoga and meditation and stuff like that. And then the overall feeling that I got back from the survey was yes, we should continue to do that. And that kind of left me in a pickle because I was willing to kind of give up yoga and meditation and, you know, do something fun with a tea bar where we can do a, you know, queer eye for a straight guy kind of night, do a survey, trivia night, and have a little fire set up in front, and you know, be able to invite people into our space to chill and, you know, enjoy, you know, cooler air, which we would conceivably create through some swamp coolers that we created for the bar. You know, just make it an enjoyable conduit for people to come have tea and hang out and, you know, have some degree of entertainment. You know, that, and then getting rid of yoga and meditation meant, okay, there's a bunch of bandwidth that that I don't have to put myself through. But at the same time, you know, if someone took over that, you know what I mean? There was such a feeling that people wanted to keep that going. And I can kind of see that. But I mean, if we're rebranding and taking on a new identity, you know, who's really going to remember that? You know, if Sun Guardian isn't the animal that's still there. Does that make sense?
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't want to lose something with the yoga and meditation going away, but at the same time, I feel like it's kind of opening up another door. Yep. If that makes sense.
Agreed. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's so much yoga and meditation there, it seems, you know, and like, what can we bring that's unique and exciting? Maybe that's a better way to think about it, right?
Yeah.
And this bar sounds really awesome, especially with the art car, and yeah, it sounds really cool.
Yep.
Yeah, and also, if we did continue the temple, the way that the camp plan is set up for next year would mean that we would still need to get one more structure in order to keep everybody, you know, within the scope of the plan that I was trying to deliver for camp. You guys all saw the graphic for that, right?
A while ago, right?
Yeah, it was a while ago. I mean, as soon as I got back from Burning Man, I started flopping ideas out of my head just to, you know, start sharing and getting people hopefully excited about next year, and you know, maybe make some changes in what we're gonna do, but just start laying the groundwork for whatever that might be.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then that discussion I had with Jared too, you know, when, you know, excited about the idea of, you know, creating a new front that really speaks, that takes away from the standard little, you know, pop-up tents and stuff like that. You know what I mean? The standard little structures that everybody has out there, and give us a nice, unique spin, I think is really exciting.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm excited about it. I think it's cool.
Yeah.
Okay, hold on. I'm going to post a couple of pictures in the group itself, the Sun Guardians 2018, just so you guys can look at some ideas as they're forming, and then hopefully Jared and I can sit down and you know, or you know, or a group of us to talk about what the facade would ultimately look like.
Yep.
Yeah, and if we do have like some big open space that's not being used all the time, I assume we wouldn't be serving tea like all day every day. You know, we could possibly allow other people to schedule yoga and meditation there, but I think if they want to do that, they should own it and, you know, handle getting people there and taking care of the space. That's a thought.
That's a good thought. I like that. I mean, the idea of doing that, I want to take it off of my shoulders. I want to make the experience for everybody in camp this year. I just want to do it nice, but I also don't want to end up walking away and then suddenly seeing, you know, red and yellow on a MOOP map afterwards. Because I mean, the MOOP map shows red literally exactly where our kitchen is at, all the way to the street. The feedback I have from Kurt so far is that he left in the middle of the night and thought he did a, you know, decent job on the MOOP sweep, but I mean, just because of where the red area was at, that makes me think it can't conceivably have been something that blew over from the guys behind us, because it seemed it's so precisely laid out to the kitchen. It's ridiculous. In the global queer burner page, I just posted an image last night of the MOOP map superimposed on a satellite image, and it's literally exactly where our kitchen is at. And I'm like, oh my god.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. And wow. So better floor next year for the kitchen.
Will we find out exactly what they found there?
There's a possibility we'll find out in January. That's the earliest date that I'm been made aware of. Because as soon as I saw that red, I emailed placement, and Bravo wrote back, you know, hey, you know, we won't know anything until January, and we're pretty much off until then. So we'll follow up with you. So don't worry about it for now.
Okay.
But I do worry about it. So yeah. So it sounds like we're pretty good with the idea of the monkey bar, because I can really run with that. I can
Yeah.
create images that go along with that.
What's the status of the art car? I know you're still raising funds and stuff, right?
Yeah, so phase one fundraising, I feel like went, well. I raised $3,000.
Uh-huh.
With that, some of the money from that went towards decompression, but it'll get paid back when we start collecting camp fees after the beginning of the year. I've created accounts finally that Sun Guardians is a separate business now. I've just been I had the Queer Burner stuff as a separate business. It's Life Grand Triumphant Productions, and then Sun Guardians is now under the umbrella of Sun Theater Over Mars. And yes, these things are in my head. So that's going to include the art car and Sun Guardians under that business identity, just so for tax purposes and all that fun stuff.
What kind of business did you set it up as? A nonprofit?
It's just a sole proprietorship right now.
Okay.
Yeah, right now it's a sole proprietorship. If I try and put it into an LLC or anything like that, then there's an automatic, in the state of California, there's an automatic $800, tax bill that comes with it.
Right.
And that's more than I'm, willing to deal with right now. So I'm just pretty much stuck with a sole proprietorship at this point.
Okay.
I see Matt smiling, so he knows what I'm talking about.
Oh, yeah. Corporate taxes in California are high.
Yeah.
It's insane. So yeah, until I can get some, legal and accounting help, that's just how it has to be. Yeah. Let's see. All right. So I put it up an image on the page too. When we were in Reno, I saw that beautiful amber facade on that on the buffet, and I'm like, this is perfect. This is exactly what I was thinking. And then I think Jared had made some suggestions, some other colors, and I'm open to whatever that might be. But whatever those eventually become. If I already talked to the NIMBY people, and if for some reason I can get workspace over there, we can work there on this project. And that's all, art car depending. And they got a great workshop over there where we could do projects. If that's something that you need. I don't know if you have room to do this stuff at your house, you guys. So if we can just go get a workspace to do all this in, that'd probably be better for everyone.
Yeah. So what's the plan for the facade, Jared?
I mean, I don't have one fully formulated yet. I have some starts of stuff, some ideas. I mean, I did some tests with the resin approach that I've been painting with and seeing how it would work as its own thing. The first test turned out pretty well, but I want to do some additional ones that include some backing on it to see if I can pull the cost down.
Yeah, there's a couple. I think resin tends to be really expensive, to my understanding, because I've been doing that research on another project. I mean, if we can simplify it to, for ourselves a little bit, I just, whatever that face becomes, I kind of just want that color and be able to put some lighting behind it and just have it just shine at night,
So, I mean, that's definitely like the main sort of like artistic direction that I want to push things, but how to get there, I'm still kind of researching and figuring out, what materials might work.
Cool. I mean, I put up just a little bit of an idea of what's been in my head, at least on the Facebook group this morning. The how we get there, or what we ultimately end up, just as long as it's really a dynamic, and we don't wait till the last minute to get it done, kind of thing. We need also as a camp, I need to get a larger storage unit for us, which I'm not going to tackle until after the first quarter. There's just no point in burying myself in stuff before then. And then by that time,
sorry, is there
no,
stuff
go
that
ahead.
we need to do a sort through that in that process?
I think it would be smart for us to get a container that we can have gray water go into, and then just get pumped out. At least after our experience last year, it just shined a big light for me as the different possibilities. Because just getting U.S. services there to pump out, they were great, and they didn't charge us huge amounts of money. The lesson learned was when I rented their tanks, those 250-gallon tanks, and they filled up so quickly, was a huge pain in the ass. And paying for the empties in advance kind of sucked, because I feel like if we just do a cash transaction out there, we save some money. Yeah.
Scott, have you put a budget together, like how much we're hoping to raise and how much is going to what projects?
Yeah.
No, not yet. I don't have any numbers from anybody as far as what number is concerned. I did do an outline. Actually, okay, so maybe it's not true. I did do a little something. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. Just for initial, expectation of money and stuff like that. But I haven't allocated to different projects yet, because we had a question about raising the camp fees this year to just accomplish some goals. Part of it would go to Art Car, part of it just getting better things for camp. Hold on, let me see if I can bring it up. And that's another subject. We just want to get people prepared with the idea that the camp fee is definitely going up, but I just don't want to price people out, because there's a couple of people that have just said, "Oh, wait a minute, this is too much."
Yeah.
But we need to have certain things for camp. But let's see. Here we go. Oh no, that's not it. Okay. There's not a lot in what's there now for. Oh, that's not it either. Sorry. I'll have to look for it. I have it. I thought I started it, but maybe I was wrong.
Okay.
I've been worried about all of us and other stuff, financials more, just because we've already started ticket sales on that. So maybe that's where my energy's been.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was also thinking about some suggestions that have come my way about tiered pricing. And I think, there's certain benefits that have to come with working on this damn thing all year long. So, those of us that are, engaged and active, might pay less or have less of a demand financially, as opposed to people that aren't. So we'll talk about that eventually as well.
Do you think it's like a, even though maybe this isn't the right term, but kind of a camp guest versus somebody who's volunteering and working?
Yeah.
What's the camp kind of structure?
Oh, I don't think there should be any tourists in camp. I think everybody needs to be participating.
Which is why I was like, I don't know if guest is necessarily the right word, and I don't think it's like total lack of engagement. It's just like show up and engage versus pre-engagement, you know.
Oh. Well, the people that tend to register later on for camp, that we don't really know, tend to, I want to say, not be as engaged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If that's the right thing. Which is, you know, there's a whole mindset out there that I can't even think about Burning Man until July or August rolls around. So there's got to be, you know, a benefit for those people that step up early into this process, because I mean, literally, you know, running a theme camp is almost year round. Just making sure if you're innovating, if you're changing, if you're growing, you have to work at it. If you're static and never doing anything different, then sure, put all your stuff in storage and then rip it out, you know, in 10 months, dust it off and get it ready for another year. But every year, Sun Guardians or whatever its future is going to be has evolved. So, I mean, considering what made up the camp in our first year to where we are now is, you know, miles of road. So, yeah. I don't know if you saw pictures of the 2013 camp. I think it was 2013. I mean, it was really a whole bunch of different kind of structures tied together. There was a monkey hut. There was a 30-foot carport, a 20-foot carport, a string of aluminate tied between carports, making up the temple. It was nuts. So half of it was in Salt Lake City, half of it was here. So yeah. All right. Do you guys have any other questions, or is there something we should talk about, or?
Well, are there specific action items that we can focus on and start, you know, moving forward, helping you out? Because right now, I feel like it's mostly you taking everything.
I mean,
out. Like,
I'm willing to deconstruct anything that I've done and push on. I mean, if anybody wants to take anything on specifically, I'm not working on a lot of camp stuff right now.
Okay.
When it comes to breaking down finances, getting stuff ready, I'll probably be doing that more in January.
Okay.
Right now, the biggest thing on my plate is All of Us. That's just getting started, which is the LGBT regional. And then I want to get this art car project rolling. And the thing is like, I can kind of see where the camp and the art car could become part of essentially a village for camp, where maybe there's an art car crew that might be separate from Sun Guardians, which means, you know, if that happens, then they may not necessarily be part of our infrastructure as far as, you know, showers, food, and all that other stuff is concerned. They may want to just do their own thing.
Yeah.
And then I've also got a Queer Burner small project that I'm hoping to put on the corner for our 10-year anniversary. That's also separate from Sun Guardians. We'll see how that works out. That's just kind of an idea, and at least that's all shown on the graphic that I posted today too. Just kind of the camp dynamic, the wish list of items, including, I think it's 4 swamp coolers for the living area for everybody, a shaded closed-in living area, and the bar.
Cool.
I think people want that. When I didn't do it last year, there was a lot of bemoaning and, you know, not the happiest about it. But if I do it this time, maybe people will actually comply and, you know, stay within the rules that were set up around it. Because that was a problem in 2016, where we had people taking up more space than what they were allotted. We had 3 people that took up a lot more space than they were supposed to. So fortunately, it worked out.
Quick question: with the swamp coolers, are we going to be doing a better job in closing those spaces? Because, like, obviously the mesh netting won't work to keep cool air in for those spaces.
Well, I mean, honestly, like, I went over to Suspended Animation, I think is what they're called. This is the bondage camp up the street. And they have the exact same structures we do. And it was holding air. I've actually got the idea from looking at their living situation. Even though they're vented, but I mean, I'm not saying I'm not open to, you know, creating better walls. But that netting seemed to still trap the air in the space. So I'm not sure. I haven't thought about creating better walls, but we also don't want to create a tent. I mean, a kite that's just going to blow away anyways. Yeah, because I feel like that still holds on to space pretty well. I don't know.
Okay.
I'm open to other ideas, but just creating that extra, you know, bump there, I think will be good for a lot of people.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with whatever works. I was just concerned that, like, having a swamp cooler with mesh netting wouldn't necessarily keep the air in, but I didn't see a camp that had a setup like that. So if you're saying it should work, then, you know, we can roll with that.
I mean, it's a conceptual thing at this point, but
yeah,
I'm suspecting
I'll do some research into that and see what people do.
Yeah, that'd be fun. And then we can just start. If someone wants to take ownership of different things, I mean, kind of Jared's already pretty much, you know, taken ownership of, you know, helping us get the facade designed. And then we can just break things up as things go forward. And then Jared, myself, and whoever else gets involved with, you know, building the facade. You know, it just comes down to budget numbers at a certain point. So, and then making it happen, and then finding a space to work in. I really like the idea of working at NIMBY, but it's also a pain in the ass for me to get there. So,
you should just move to Oakland.
Yeah, really.
Hey, I'm open to it. I'm so ready to get out of San Francisco. You don't know.
Hey, Scott, I have a question. Is there a sort of centralized document with all of the to-dos, like, you know, like the projects listed out and maybe sub action items to all of those, so people can, like, I guess what I'm saying is my thing is, like, I want to engage and I want to plug in, but I don't necessarily have what's in your brain in front of me to see where those spaces lie. So, like, how can we streamline that process? Like, out on paper and say, okay, Craig's going to take on researching swamp coolers with different walls, whatever, you know, and, like, just sort of break that down. You know what I'm saying?
Yep, totally. And I usually actually, over the last year or two, have started creating those documents.
Yeah.
I've got one for King of All Warriors. And it's time for me to go ahead and do that for this camp. So I'll go ahead and start that, and then what we'll do is we'll just create a shared workspace on Google.
Yep.
And then I'm doing the same thing for all of us right now. So I'll do the same thing for camp.
Awesome. Yeah, that'll be
So
really
are we official with Monkey Bar?
yeah.
I'm good with it.
I like it.
Awesome. Awesome. All right. The general feeling seems to be positive. I just hope Jai's okay with it, because I mean, that was one of the things that brought him into camp, was that we were doing a Hindu temple, but he's actually been so great with, you know, his support of camp and supporting the art car and stuff like that. So, you know, I just want to make sure, hopefully he's on board with that too. You know, he's a really cool person that happened into camp, as you know, to be part of what we're doing. And I want to see that. I feel like generally people are on board with the idea.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. All right. Any other questions? So action item for me right now is just to get that foundation document done and set up workspace for us. And then let's say our next action items really will happen about January. Okay. If you guys are okay with that. And then because at that point we're going to need to get ready for direct group sales if we get approved for that for 2018, which will happen in February. And we'll start accepting camp fees in January as well. So I'm anticipating they're probably going to be somewhere between 400 and 450, but that's just an estimate right now. The graphic that I put out, you know, has the swamp coolers for campers. It has the concept of private toilets for us, if that's something we can afford to do. It also has a little bit better electrical plan on it. We're going to work on that other generator to see if we can get it to come to life. And maybe if Matt, maybe you could do a little bit of research on that generator to see if it's something in your wheelhouse to maybe we can get going. We can get it started, right? We just can't get it producing electricity.
Correct. Yeah. It probably needs to be serviced. So we may have to spend a little bit of money getting it serviced. Yeah, because I kind of reached my limit of knowledge in in generators when I fussed with it. Yeah.
And I still owe you $1,000 that you'll get after the beginning of the year once we start collecting camp fees. And then we'll should also have money to start working on projects about that time too, depending on where things go.
And I have a couple quick questions. Is someone owning the art car, or who's owning that project?
I mean, right now it's squarely on my shoulders.
Okay.
A lot of people have said they want to help and be part of it. And one of them is Christian from Boz. Does everybody know him?
No.
Christian Williams. He's one of the main people from Boz. He's a very strong character in that group. And he also, you know, has Boz at NIMBY. So I'm excited that if he wants to help with that. The project itself, I feel like, is very doable. The guy that owns the art car that I want to get right now is still really into our project. So we'll see what we can do with that. But I just couldn't commit. I was hoping to take it over by November, take over the space and start having workspace at NIMBY, but it just didn't pan out that direction.
Okay. What's the limiting step there? Finances or?
Money.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, I came up with a financial plan with the guy that owns the art car that really worked for him, where he would essentially, I mean, I'm essentially creating an art car that can be used for a year, and I don't. I mean, I own it, but I don't officially own it because it would go back to him if we decided to do that after the first year. Let's say it didn't work out. Let's say, you know, something happened, God, you know, forbid, you know, anything bad, or just, you know, something didn't work out with it, then I wouldn't have that vehicle. I could give that vehicle back to him without any issues, as long as it was in good shape. So it was just basically a lease for a year.
Scott, can you? I can't find it right now, but could you send me the link to the Art Car fundraising page?
Yeah. Yeah. You should be able to get to it through King of All Warriors.
Okay.
It's linked on the Sun Guardians theme camp page. Hold on, I gotta bounce over there. Hold on. Whoops, thought you were there. Am I in crack?
Oh, I found it.
Oh, you did? Okay.
We're good.
Okay, cool. Yeah, I actually got some really good feedback from some people over at Comfort and Joy that I didn't really tell my story very well with that I could use some sharpening up on you know, how I'm my approach on the fundraiser for that. And so I'm doing some thinking about that, and then I'm going to relaunch between now and January.
Oh, so it's closed right now, so I can't donate?
Yeah, don't worry about it right now. Right now, I'm just going to focus on, you know, retooling the idea. Are you looking at the Indiegogo, or are you looking at the GoFundMe?
I was looking at the Indiegogo.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I think the GoFundMe's still around, but
okay, I can do the GoFundMe. I see it.
All right, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and conclude this chapter, and I'll go ahead and post this for everybody to see. So we did talk about a lot of really important things like changing our identity, which will happen pretty quickly. We talked about just some of the projects that we've got coming up on the horizon, and asking people to take ownership of the different things. For scheduling and doing yoga and meditation, if somebody can take ownership of that, then, you know, we'll create that space that will also be available for people to casually use, you know, during downtimes and stuff like that. The monkey bar sounds like a really cool direction. With the new facade and possibly the new art car, this could really, you know, blow us up as far as you know, the quality and engagement that we should get from people in the community. Then the only thing that we didn't talk about at this point was where are we going to recruit you know, future campmates from. I did have some ideas about focusing a little bit through my other network to kind of strengthen that side of it, since we are in the gamerhood. But I do not want to lose some of our straight people, thinking that we're just becoming this exclusively walled-in gay camp, because I think some of our straight campmates are just too amazing to lose. And hopefully, you know, they'll hear what I'm saying, you know, when I say that. Cool. All right, guys. Thank you so much.
Awesome.
And then the next time we'll meet is January. But in the meantime, I'll start creating a place for us to start working on stuff together for documentation and for documentation and start building that.
Awesome.
Cool. Thank you guys.
Thank you,
Cool.
Scott.
Thanks.
Thank you for joining me. I appreciate it.
Yep.
Bye-bye.
Yeah.
See you soon.